All right, welcome to session number 2 of Unit 10. This is going to be a rather short session. We're going to review some basic concepts, most of which we've already discussed, but we'll summarize them right here. Categories of manufacturing cost. Manufacturing operations transform raw materials, the basic materials from which a product is made, into other goods through the use of labor and factory facilities. Therefore, manufacturing companies classify production costs as either direct materials, direct labor, or indirect production cost. Direct materials include, we've talked about this quite a bit, but they include costs incurred to acquire materials used to manufacture a product. These costs are easily traced to the products produced, as we discussed in session number 1. Direct labor costs include wages of all include the wages of all labor easily traced to manufactured goods or to services provided. So we certainly could have a public accounting firm whose primary direct cost is the labor involved in auditing clients or providing tax services. But we certainly see direct labor also in production of products. In a highly automated factory with flexible workforce, there may not be any direct labor hours or direct labor costs. For example, all workers might spend their time overseeing numerous products, making it economically infeasible to physically trace direct labor directly to specific products. In other words, if we have an automated factory, what our workers might do is walk around and tinker with the machines, keep them running. Machine stalls, they go over, fix the machine, get it back up and running. That's not direct labor. That is, in fact, indirect labor. It's not easily traceable to the cost object, the product being produced. Indirect cost. Manufacturing overhead includes all costs associated with the production process that can be physically traced to manufactured products in an economically feasible way. For example, depreciation, property taxes, supplies, and minor items such as shop supplies. Also, some labor costs, such as janitors and forklift operators, are indirect labor costs and economically infeasible to trace to cost object. Two final concepts I want to be sure that we all understand going forward. Product costs. Product costs are costs identified with goods produced or purchased for resale. So as we produce goods, we put them into finished goods inventory. They stay in the inventory until they're sold. These costs are initially inventoried on hand, sometimes called inventoriable cost. Inventoriable costs become expenses. They're recognized as cost of goods sold, but they become expenses only when the inventory is sold. So product costs are the costs associated with either producing or acquiring a product. It goes in inventory. We do not recognize it as an expense until it's sold. It could be a month later, it might be 6 months later before it's sold and recognized as an expense. On the other hand, periodic costs are reported as the expenses as expenses during the current period. They did not go into an inventory stage. These costs are incurred by departments outside of production, such as the research and development department, advertising, sales, administrative costs, HR services. All of those are period expenses. Most of these costs are reported as selling and administrative expenses. So please keep in mind as we go forward, there's a fundamental difference between product cost and period cost. Product cost can be put into inventory. Period costs are expense in the period that they are incurred.